from our correspondent in Vietnam. Now, the United States-Vietnam War marked American consciousness, changed attitudes to war, and has been studied and replayed by historians and filmmakers alike. Less examined, however, is the War of Vietnamese Independence from France, which opened the door to the later conflict. This year, it's 60 years since the bloody Battle of Dien Bien Phu. It was the culmination of the First Indochina War, with 50,000 communist Viet Minh troops comprehensively outnumbering and defeating French soldiers. Their victory led not only to the later war with the US, but also the end of France's colonisation of Vietnam, Cambodia and Laos. France 24's Cyril Payen takes us back to the battlefield 60 years on.
This is northern Laos, in the remote hills of Indochina. We are travelling due north following the river, a distant cousin of the mighty Mekong as it snakes its way through the jungle. Soon, we'll cross the border with Vietnam, a national boundary, but also one of time.
You see Beatrice, Eliane?
Nev is a Vietnam veteran still haunted by the war. He has left his native Australia to live here in Dien Bien Phu. It's been 60 years since this deep valley was host to one of the most ferocious and deadliest battles in modern military history. For 57 days and nights they fought. Thousands died and the French were defeated, marking a turning point in the wars against colonialism.
But there's just something really special about Dien Bien Phu. The heroism of both sides.
The Vietnamese victory at Dien Bien Phu precipitated the end of French colonial rule in 1954 and the partition of Vietnam. The remains of the battlefield are kept intact by the Hanoi regime more than half a century later. The Vietnamese Communist Party uses it to celebrate memories of a more heroic past.
They want to go to Dien Bien Phu to learn about the history, to enjoy the victory, and go to Dien Bien Phu. They can remember the parents who died for independence.
I studied the battle in history books. I wanted to see in real life.
2,293 French soldiers were killed in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. 8,000 later perished in captivity. A further 3,000 Indo-Chinese fighters who sided with the French also died. A simple cenotaph built by a former legionnaire stands as a memory to their sacrifice. The families of French war veterans also come here to discreetly fulfill their last wishes.
They wish to be buried here, but you know that it's not really a cemetery. So their family brought some of the part of the body ashtray.
After the French, the Americans took on the baton of war here. The Vietnam War lasted until 1975, but the majority of Vietnamese alive today were born after the conflict ended and care little of the past.
Do you think there is a sense of remembering what happened here in Dien Bien Phu?
I don't think so. Really, I just get a sense that they are duty-bound to do what their government says to do.
Nev, who served during the American War, knows all the Vietnamese veterans of Dien Bien Phu. This family belongs to the Black Thai ethnic group, many of whom fought alongside the French.
Yes, my husband wore a French uniform. He had everything, even the helmet. He was transferred to the coast where he was supposed to be sent over to France, but the French army didn't keep their promise. That's just the way it goes.
At my grandparents' generation, they have no choice. Maybe if I was living at that time, I may do the same with them.
Watch what you say. My husband didn't do anything wrong. He was just an auxiliary to the French army. All this had nothing to do with him.
Indeed, the shock military defeat of the French was decisive. But as throughout the Indochina conflict, the human toll was huge. Officially, some 8,000 Viet Minh soldiers sacrificed their lives in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. We go to meet one of the last surviving veterans still living in the area. Surprisingly, this aged man has erased all reference to the great battle from his memory, either intentionally or not. he offers us only one word, taken from a time when the French were still the rulers in Vietnam.
Oublier. Oublier. Oublier.
Oublier, to forget. His choice then, forget the war, the sacrifice, and the souls of all those who still haunt the valley of Dien Bien Phu.
Well, let's bring you the latest sports news now, including a bumper crop of Champions League football results.
Saint-Germain moved into the quarter-finals of the Champions League, 6-1 on aggregate.